Welcome to this podcast, Holistic Creators, where we share our unique and universal stories about shaping the future for the 4 Ps: people, planet, purpose, and profit. My name is Swanette Kuntze. I'm a mental coach and your host of this show. My intention for this show is to inspire you on your path to a holistic future. So welcome. Hello and welcome to my podcast, Holistic Creators. My name is Swanette and I'm your host. Today I have the guest, Louise Harlow. Welcome to my show.
Thank you, Swanette. It's lovely to be here. It's a privilege for you to ask me.
Yeah, I'm really curious about understanding more about your past. So what I see is that, like many of us, life has been challenging. So a lot of situations where you not felt like being belonging to this place, not belonging to your family, and you really had a lot of challenges in your life, and this all helped you to awaken more and more. And can you tell us your story of life and of course your awakening story?
Sure. Well, I suppose as a child, really, I had quite a lonely childhood. Many of my close friends, they just happened to move away, whether it be their fathers moving work or whatever. But we lived on the outskirts of an estate, and I used to just take myself off on country walks, even at a very young age, up the lane, pick flowers and press them. And you know, I've always had that close interest with nature as a child, but I always felt excluded. Growing up was pretty much the same as a teenager. I was quite a naive teenager, got involved with some of the wrong people that I was warned against. But when I was 15, my sister had an accident on a motorbike, and I was kind of left to my own devices. And so anyone that befriended me and showed me a bit of attention, I took them up on that, you know. I was misled a few times to be in wrong relationships. I never had much guidance, if any at all, from parents. And so it was up to me to make my own judgments and decisions. And very often they were the wrong ones, but that's how we learn in life. And I think it's through these events and that build our foundations for what makes us who we are. And I now look back and think, if only I'd had a bit more guidance from my parents, I wouldn't have made so many mistakes. But hey ho, it's made me who I am. I've come out the other side, and I am definitely awake to the situation in the world. I've been a single mother to my daughter, and you know, I've been in hostels. I know what it feels like to be homeless as such, not on the streets, but with no roof over my head that I could call my own. The father wasn't participating in support, and yeah, so I was literally asked to leave home when I was in my 20s, and I ended up just living with somebody, with a guy that said I could share his bedsit until I got my own place. And you know, I've been through a lot of situations where I could give advice, I think, to other people in that situation. My friends kind of lost touch with me from moving around from place to place. Whilst I was expecting my daughter, I moved 8 times while I was pregnant, so I kept losing touch with people, and it was a very unsettling time. I wouldn't wish single parenthood on anyone at all. It's not an easy thing to cope with. I think my parents, because they stipulated to me at the age of 15, you know, it was my job to look after my sister because she was mentally and physically impaired, and I refused to do that. I've got my own life to live, and so I was cast to one side and seen as able-bodied, and you can do that, your sister can't. So I was literally left to my own devices to rumble my way through life. I'm a much stronger person. I'm a very sensitive person, but I am very empathetic, I think, from experiences I've gone through. And I just feel that I've got an experience to give other people in that situation an encouragement, a word of encouragement, because I've come through it. I feel that everything that gets thrown at me now, I can deal with. And leading to my awakening on the world situation as it is, I felt immediately that something was wrong. I've learnt to trust instincts. And I think many people that are awake have experienced a situation in their lives that's made them feel very vulnerable and have to rely upon yourself and your own judgment and instinct to keep you safe. That's our armor. And so I immediately thought this was a bioweapon against humanity. I knew that it was a virus. At that point, I was very, very scared. I thought this is going to wipe us out. I do recall a couple of things having been said by a particular man with the initials BG some years ago that stated we will have this very detrimental virus in the future, and that straight away came back to me. So I did buy a mask. I bought a lovely silk one because I'd planned on taking my son on holiday to Ibiza for his birthday, and so I thought, well, I'm going to buy myself a nice mask. And I wore gloves for shopping, and I installed the hand gel, the sanitizing gel for me and my son, made sure he used it for college and everything. And I was furloughed from my work that I'd only been in for 3 months. I work for a private landowner who builds properties on his land. And so I was a bit concerned that I wouldn't be invited back. I'd only been there 3 months, so I had all of this worry and concern going on. I'm self-sufficient. I've never had anyone to lean on financially or you know, mental support, emotional support. I've only ever had me. So I was a little bit daunted by the prospect I wouldn't be invited back. I can honestly say I've never worked for a lovelier company. They've really looked after me so well. Right through furlough, they made me feel reassured. So I went back and I thought, this is getting a worse situation. It's not improving. And I just ditched the hand gel, I ditched the mask. I thought, I'm not going along with this anymore. I've got a good immune system. We've got 99.7% recovery rate from this. What am I worried about? You know, I look after myself. I'm healthy. I eat organic. And it also made me change and look at my diet, because you are what you put in. And always having been aware of factory farming and, you know, with meats, and just trying to always buy when I can organic or free range. I decided to grow my own vegetables, but also make sure I grew bought organic seeds to grow them with. Otherwise, again, you've got the genetically modified seeds. And I won't drink tap water anymore. I buy mineral water, and I do see all of this collapsing very soon. So I didn't go to the expense of buying a distiller, because I thought, well, I've drunk tap water for the majority of my life. What's another 6 months or a year going to do even with tap water? I filter it for cooking, or I'll buy the bottled 5-litre bottles of mineral water for drinking. So I do the best I can with my finances to eat and drink the best that I can, but I'm certainly not scared. I'm the most calmest, peaceful I've been internally for many, many years. I don't worry about what's being thrown at us. I know it's all lies and fear mongering. So I just trust my gut instinct now on everything.
Yeah, wow, this is so interesting. Understanding on the one hand that you have been through a hard time, but you had also like these learnings that you can trust yourself, that you are strong enough to go through challenges. And this helps you at this time to understand, okay, what is really going on, and rely on yourself and make good decisions. Yeah. And
Definitely.
yeah. So I totally resonate with that, because my life seems like the same. I felt all the time not belonging to the group, normal groups, to the peers, but I had all these learnings through my life, and now it feels like I'm prepared for what is coming or what is going on. It's like, okay, I eat also organic food, and yeah, I read a lot about the scientific abstracts, they are coming out. So for me, it's like, okay, on the one hand, this was the school of life, and now we are in our awakening process, and this will go on. But perhaps we are the ones that also can tell other people, okay, look at this and look at this, and especially stay calm, don't go into fear and anxiety, because this will make you do yeah, wrong decisions, or not the best ones. Yeah,
Definitely, yeah. And I do feel that, you know, I haven't specifically had any of my friends say, oh, you know, what's the matter, Louise, you've gone nutty, or you've cracked up, or I haven't felt that anyone's given me negative remarks. It's just that maybe they've chose to unfollow me on Facebook, or I've had a couple of people say, oh, please don't send me these notifications. And I said, I'm just trying. They don't see it as that you're trying to help people. You're trying to save your friends and family as well. But they just, because it's not on the media, they just disregard what you're saying. And we're a growing community. Millions of us around the world now are trying to, there's no way I can stop posting and saying what I feel, because I know that day is coming when it's going to hit them like a ton of bricks, and they'll come to me and they'll say, Louise, you were right. I have absolutely 100% faith in what I am saying, and that's why I can't stop. This is my job. This is what we're here for. And when I read, you know, spiritual posts from the Galactic Federation, or any one of that psychic ability, and saying this is what your soul came here to do, that resonates with me, and it makes me even stronger to know that I can't stop. I have to keep going at this. There's no way that you can just draw an end. So I have noticed that some friends have distanced themselves, or they've seen me as a little bit of a health threat, and they've taken, oh well, I can't, you know, we'll catch up soon in the future, and or we'll have a coffee outside. And asymptomatic doesn't mean that I'm carrying anything. I'm perfectly healthy. And what makes me giggle, I saw a chap yesterday actually in the shop, and he'd got, you know, this across his face, and he was at the kiosk in the supermarket buying 3 packets of cigarettes, and I just smiled at him, and he said, you're right. And I said, yes, I just find it amusing. And he said, what's that? And I said, the fact that you're wearing that across your face to protect your health, and you're buying 2 packets of cigarettes. To me, that makes no sense. People just aren't getting it. And to me, it's as clear as day, you know. That's why I can't roll with this, any of it. And now, of course, in the UK, we've got these mandates come back with having to wear this across your face, and social distancing. It's just crazy. It's a crazy world. But it doesn't, you know, people call us crazy, but look at the world they're living in. That's even crazier. None of it makes sense, does it? But we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I often hear is that now we are, I don't know, 1.5 years, almost 2 years in this situation of the so-called pandemic. And a lot of people going into isolation, they don't have contacts to their family and friends anymore. And they feel like the first time this strong loneliness, like they're not used to stay alone, to spend time with themselves, and really perhaps also starting to look inside.
That's
Can you?
quite true, yeah. Whereas I've experienced that loneliness. I don't, I wasn't comfortable with it, but I can deal with it. And I think that's a really good point. When you've experienced loneliness and having to depend on yourself, you can cope with it. That's our strategy. That's how we get through situations. And many people, as you say, haven't experienced that before. So, yeah, that's a really good point.
Can you tell me a little bit more about situations where you felt lonely and how you cope with them? Because what I can see, people don't have coping strategies right now, but as we have gone through, we know how to handle this. So can you go a little bit deeper into an example that you felt really lonely, and what have you done to stay strong, to continue your life?
I think I've got stronger through realizing that you can either stay in the gutter, you can stay in a low mode, or you can pull yourself out of it. I was once on antidepressants shortly after I had my daughter, and that's basically because I was homeless and I had a beautiful lady that I nannied for previous to my having my daughter, and she's been a rock and like a stepmom to me. And we're still very close now, and she took me in. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, she took me in, and I lived with her, with my daughter, until she was 10 months. And she pulled me through, I don't think she realizes just how much. But we are very close together. And I still see her children now that I nannied for. And now the one daughter has got children, and I see them occasionally, beautiful girls. So I do class her very much as family. It's a very emotional time in my life, which is why I'm getting upset now. But the way I pulled myself through was to think, well, I can either stay here or I can pull myself up, pull my socks up and get on with it. And that's what I did. I was only on antidepressants 3 months, and I gradually, very gradually, even after 3 months, took myself off those, weaned myself off. And the doctor said, well, you've got to be on these 6 months before you can stop taking them. I says, I can see the light. I can see spring coming. A lot of people get low and depressed during these winter months. And I think, what the government are doing to so many people, as you say, that are lonely right now, it's the worst time of year to be doing that to people, isolating them and putting them in a fear bubble is the worst thing you can do for your health. So what I took myself off the antidepressants, and luckily I'd got Jeanette around me and her family. And I think to pull yourself up, you've got to find one or two very good friends around you and ask for help. You have to ask for help. I was very fortunate to have Jeanette, and I went back to college eventually, and I retrained. I did my diploma in childcare. I got a job in a nursery where my little girl at that time could go with me. And I didn't work for a few years during my daughter's young, I think when she started, I'm trying to think now because so much has happened in that time. There was a period which after when my daughter was 10 months, I rented a house privately because the one that the council had given me was in such a deprived area. There was no way that I was going to be in that situation and classed in that in that low mode atmosphere with that community. No disrespect, but I wanted to pull myself out of that. I didn't want to be happy with having minimal, if that makes sense. I wanted more, and I think that's the mindset you have to have. You have to want more, and to do that, there's only you to do it. And so I did. It's motivation, self-motivation, but you can only do that if you can see the light. It's like having a friend that, you know, knowing someone that's on drugs, they've got to want to change themselves. If you become complacent with what you're given, you're never going to move out of that. You've got to want more. And I did. I wanted more. So I went to college, and I even up until 2 years ago, you know, I've still retrained in the job that I do now. I paid for a course, £400, and at the time I thought, oh, it's a lot of money to retrain, but I had to do it. I've retrained in beauty. I just utilised my time whilst working part-time while I could as a single mum. You only had to do 16 hours of work a week. And instead of sitting on your backside watching TV and stupid shows that don't educate you in anything at all, get yourself to college, educate yourself, and have your finger in as many pies as you can, you know. So I trained in beauty. I did a bit of mobile beauty for a while, and then I got a job with Clarins as well, which I absolutely loved. And unfortunately, again, because I stood up for what I believed in, and it doesn't matter that I speak about it now, but I was quite one to stand up for animal rights and fur. So I had a customer, and she'd got a fox around her neck, a dead fox with eyes and teeth and claws, and it shocked me when I turned around to serve this lady. And it was such a shock. I went, oh, and she overheard me. So unfortunately, although my regional manager laughed at it, I lost my job over that. But you know, these things happen in life, don't they? And I was then working temporarily, and I thought, I have to get myself in a stable job here. So I retrained and went into the housing industry, and I'm really glad I did. And I've got a lovely little job now. So, but I think that's the main thing. You just have to want more personally to pull yourself out of it, and that gives you confidence. It strengthens you. I think that's what's kept me going and strengthened me, is just wanting to move myself out of a situation. So,
yeah. So what I can see is that it is good also, like having someone like a friend or someone you can connect to, even it is not in person at this time. It could also be digitally, like create a network of supporting people.
definitely. Yeah, I think we've relied a lot upon new circles of digital friends over the last 2 years, because many of our close friends that we hung out with have dispersed, and we've lost connection and touch with. They don't resonate with me, a lot of them, anymore, because they want to carry on doing what they did before, and I suddenly don't want to be going to those places or doing those things. But not only that, some work in the profession of the health industry, so they're afraid of mixing with me, maybe. I don't know what what they're complying to, that they believe is right. And I just can't associate with them. So I have to just put the friendship on hold for now. But digital friends have supported us through this so much. And I do feel for those without the, particularly the elderly, that have grown to trust the government, the media, the doctors, the healthcare system. And we know you can't trust any of that right now. And they've grown up with that. They're not computer literate. Many old elderly people aren't computer literate. They don't know where to go to find the answers to what's going on like we have. And I feel for them because they're very vulnerable right now. But they say they feel safe in complying, and that's detrimental, as we know.
Yeah. So what I also see is, for me, like more and more friends coming together digitally, like I'm getting to know a lot of people that have the same mindset that, that something is not right as the mainstream media tell us, but they want to create something different. So it is also like having a vision how we can create the other system, like a new world in freedom, in peace, that is sustainable and really healthy. And
definitely.
yes, so I feel like I'm kind of attracting, like a magnet. I'm attracting people that now come to me and say, oh, what you're sharing, like your vision, I'm totally resonate with that. And sometimes I have a really funny experience some time ago. I was in the ocean swimming, so no, a lot of space around me, just water, and I see that someone is right swimming to me. And I think, okay, I'm visible, so what is going on? So I swim a little bit to the side. This guy is following me in the ocean. So at one point I thought, okay, this is strange. So I wait here, seeing what is going to happen. And then he came to me and, hello, Swanette, and I'm so proud of you that you stay strong and what you're doing. And I said, I don't know you. Who are you? He said, oh, we know each other from Facebook. And I said, okay, so having a lot of Facebook friends, I was not aware of this face. And but this was a really strange situation that in the middle of the ocean, someone comes to you and says,
Yeah, poor
let's
places. It happens to be in the sea. But that's really good, you know, and we have so many, you've got obviously a big following and people recognize you, but there's so many people, even though they're on your friends list and you've got this bond with them in a mindset that you don't recognize them. It's quite funny, isn't it? But it's going to be, I'm really, really excited for the future, and people that keep sending me negative links, and I'm like, yes, but you don't realize there's two resets going on right now. You know, we've got two resets, and this is the war we're in. People don't realize that this is a spiritual war we're in the middle of, and that they cannot see the more beautiful side of where we're going. And I am so excited for that, because you just have to envisage this gate opening, and there it is. It's just through the gate and it's not far away. Just bear with it a little bit longer, because all of this is a show, as we know. And it's sad that people are only, even though many that we know are awake, they still sit in the negative bit, only see the negative side. They're not looking at the positive. And when I mentioned, but there's two resets, you know, we've got the Great Awakening and you've got the New World Order, and they can only see the negative one. And they this is, I haven't ever read all of the Bible, but I've recently purchased a book which is called Balms and 1,000 Years of Peace. I haven't as yet started reading it, but it's by a lady called Melissa Redpill, who I like to follow as well on YouTube, and she goes into depth about Revelations and the Great Awakening, and of course it's in one of the books, Enoch, that we haven't had put in our Bible. It's been taken out because in Enoch it does explain about the Great Awakening and what lies beyond this Armageddon that we are in, this end of the old world and moving into the new. And there's just so much to look forward to. Even the new technology. I've never been into sci-fi films or anything like that, futuristic, but now I can't wait. I'm so excited. Yeah, bring it on, bring it on. So I try not to sit in the negative too much because I know it's going to end very abruptly, very soon.
Yeah, is that we need first chaos, and out of the chaos, something you can erase. And it's like a lot of people are now in the stage of, I would say, a caterpillar. They can't see the butterfly yet, but we need this huge transformational process we are going in now, and then we can create something different. And it is not going slowly, as you said. This is like speeding up at this time so much, and with all the new rules they bring out, and like how they bring pressure on people, so that I really can see kind of a split of society as well. The ones that you already said are complying and are obedient and go with what the mainstream media tell them, and then the ones that stand against this, somehow they want to find another way. They have a vision where to go, but also they have a lot of pressure. And I get really on a daily basis messages, people saying, I can't stand this anymore because I can't go to work anymore because they force me to get a jab, or I can't meet my grandparents anymore. They are in a nursing home. They don't allow me to enter this anymore. So there are always reasons that have nothing to do with health. I don't get messages like I want to have, only very, very few messages where people tell me, this is really a severe virus. I want to get the jab because of that. They all tell me I want my freedom. And as what I tell them is, if you are willing into this step, they will bring the next one, and you will into this and they will bring the next one. So it is to set boundaries and say, I'm not stepping into that. And on the one hand, this is very difficult for people, but also I think this makes them stronger. What do you think?
Definitely it does. I mean, I'm going to do a quick food shop later, and I'm thinking, okay, masks are back in. I've got my speech ready for when I go through the door, because I know they're going to say, have you got a mask? And, you know, it's just, I have to go back now to what I used to do before, when they used to ask me, and I used to just say, I'm exempt, and they say, have you got a card? I don't have to show a card, and I just walk on. I think the more confidence you show going into a shop, they think, oh, okay. It takes them by surprise, because most people would if and you have to just be confident, walk in there with no mask and say, I'm exempt. At the end of the day, we're all exempt from all of this, or all of the lies. Everyone, every single one of us are exempt. We don't have to prove it. We're sovereign beings at the end of the day. We're free beings. We don't have to comply to regulations that aren't lawful. When mandatory and compulsory are not law, we know that. And people just need to educate themselves a little bit, have the confidence, and just do what feels right for you. I know last year, just going back to my awakening on this, I did go through a very, very fearful time, and I was crying every day. I couldn't talk to my son even without stuttering, you know, because the tremor and the fear in my voice to even talk to him. I was very scared. I have a policeman friend, and I talk to him often. And I said, John, have you heard of this? You know, are the police getting extra powers? Have you heard of New World Order? And are you scared for your family? Do you fear for your family? And he went quiet, which wasn't a good sign. And he said, yes, I am scared. And I thought, oh my gosh, you know, this is real. I wanted him to actually say, Louise, it's nothing, don't worry about it, it'll blow over. But he didn't. So that even got me more fearful. And I got to the point of which where I mentioned to you, I just took I really didn't feel that I could cope with what I thought at that time was going to be the outcome, New World Order. So I even phoned my doctor and asked for a prescription, as I mentioned to yourself, for sleeping tablets, because I didn't want to put myself, my son, and my dog even through that. I wasn't going to be held down or forced with this in the arm by anybody. So I was really fearful, and I took myself on a walk, and I just sat and I prayed, and I just begged for a sign that we were going to be saved. And that's when I came across this Trey Smith on Facebook, God in a Nutshell, and he related everything that is happening in the world to Revelations, even down to two presidents. It was quite uncanny. Everything was that bit was actually by a prophet, Kim Clement. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's not around anymore. But he did say that there would be two presidents, and there was. But going back to what Trey Smith said and related from Revelations to the world today made complete sense. And I thought, and he spoke of the Great Awakening and what lay beyond, and that's what turned my corner for me. And the fear just went, and I grew stronger and stronger and more confident in knowing that this wasn't going to be the outcome. We're actually going to go down a beautiful new route. And I've been praying. I'm not a church goer. I used to go when my daughter was young, but I stopped going because something didn't feel right about it. And the vicar actually came and visited me at one point, and he said, oh, you can't use God as a crutch. And I thought that was really wrong of him, because God isn't in a building, is he? He's in you. You are God. You're made in the image of God. So I'm not a preacher by any more, you know, of like faith or religion or anything, but I do know that we were put here for a purpose, and this is an awakening to a faith and a spirituality in all of us. And I think when you're in a fearful mode, it does bring you back to what is life all about? What is going on in the world? You sit when you're lonely and you're on your own, it does make you think, what is this all about? Why are we here? And that takes you back to a faith or a spirituality side of things. But yeah, that's my turning point, I think, where I found Trey Smith, and I just thought, okay, I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into Revelations, and that goes back to this book by Melissa Redpill. She breaks down the Revelations very easily for you to understand. So that's my next book to read. So yeah, I'm not fearful at all, and I just say to people, compliance isn't science. It's not good science. Anyone can be paid billions of pounds to put a white coat on and to act like they know medicine when they really don't. And we know that all of the real virologists, biologists, doctors, professors are being blocked from putting truth out there. We know that. And until it goes on the media, many people don't believe a word we say, which is quite sad. But you know, it will be what it will be. Maybe they just have to get, as one person called it, recycled, and come back until they learn spirituality and instinct. It's a very I prayed for the world to change many years ago, because I could see things happening in the world with animals and factory farming, with the meat supply, the food chain in general, going down a negative route. And I just thought we need this world to be cleansed. Please come and cleanse this world. And it's here. So how can I moan about what we're going through? This is what I've been asking for, and it's happening. The world is being cleansed of all evil, and we will have a heaven on earth. It's going to be a beautiful place to be. And I think that you have got to ascend to a certain dimension to be able to move into that new world. You've got to wake up.
Yeah, absolutely. So also what I can see is, and you already mentioned it, take your time to read books and to go deeper and into teaching yourself, learning about what is going on, also creating with that a perspective where you want to go. So how can you, connect to your intuition and become creative again? Like we need people that go out of the fear. Of course, it is good to be in this part, to start the awakening process, but then you have to go in higher frequencies. And this only comes with connecting to like-minded people that are already awakened, to read books that help you to understand more about spirituality and perhaps also about this process that is going on. But then start to become creative as well. So what is it that you can already in this moment change to create the better future? So for me, it's like, for example, bringing people together that want to start having communities, like self-sustainable communities. And this is one thing, like having a piece of land, bringing people together, grow your own food, and start a healthy style of living here. And so this is one thing. Everybody can do something to create already in little steps. It mustn't be something huge, but little steps, how they want to see the world to unfold, the new one. So yeah. What is your idea about that?
Yeah, I mean, where I live, unfortunately, there are many complying people, and to set up something that was self-sufficient, like a community allotment, even, back in World War II, all the women pulled together to help and farm the fields, and I don't know whether that is going to happen in all areas, because many just won't go along with it. They'll just carry on, and the fact that they've all been, had this in their arm, they will just carry on doing their food shopping. But I could see food shortages happening a year ago, and I made provisions then, knowing that we were going to get to this point of which we needed to be more self-sufficient. And me personally, that's when I looked more into like a hedgerow medicine type thing, and I didn't want to be visiting the doctors if I could help it, and I didn't want to be subjected to tests or what have you, or being pressured into having something put in me that was against my will, should we put it. So I educated myself a bit on hedgerow plants that had medicinal benefits, and that was last year. Now this year I've made a point of looking out for these plants, collecting them and drying them and putting them in jars, and I'll just show you a couple here. So I've got meadowsweet, which is in a jar, and this is particularly good for upset stomachs, stomach ulcers, diarrhea, indigestion, arthritis, heartburn, muscle aches and pains, things like this. And you can have that in a tea, in hot water. I mean, please look into this, don't follow my judgment. This is just what I do. And another one which is really full of vitamins and minerals, and it's used as like a garnish on food, is the nettle seeds that are around us all year round. They are full of nourishment and nutrients. So I think we've got to learn to live off the ground as it was intended, and eat more naturally. We don't need so much meat in the diet, and if you are, just try and buy organic. But I think the way going forward is to just learn to live off the land. Another thing that I've done is make my own honey. So I've made it with a flower which is rose bay willow herb. It grows along all of our British hedgerows. I'm not sure if you get it where you are. A little pink flower, and that tastes delicious. And it also helps with hay fever. We can counteract so many ailments that we get with eating naturally, and it will cure it. So I've also made skin balms, which have got self-heal in, which is very good for skin rashes, bumps, bruises, insect bites and stings. And it's basically organic coconut oil, you with the flower heads infused in like a bambury, sort of, you melt it together and let it infuse for a few hours, and then you just jar it up, and that's brilliant for dry skin, eczema, anything like that. I've also made for the winter for my own immune system elderberry syrup, which was great fun. It gets you in touch with nature, and you know that you're taking pure things with no additives, no preservatives in. And this has simply got elderberries. I put some ginger, some cloves, cinnamon and nutmeg in that, and it's so easy to make. And I think once you get in touch with all of this nature and medicine, you just rely on that. And I haven't had a sniffle for 2 years. Nothing wrong with me, and maybe touch wood, maybe I've been lucky, I don't know, but I can honestly say I've been well. And so I think definitely for people to pull together and just look at what's around them. Instead of I haven't watched the television for over a year. I don't want to. I just see it in a totally different light now. Even every single program that would be on there, I'm going to analyze it, and I just don't want any part of the television. So I like to learn, and that's what we need to do. We need to be prepared to just learn to live back on the land, and I think we've got to put the nutrients back into the soil as well, because it's been stripped of so much. I do see, like, next year, hopefully pesticides will stop. Once we've pulled this corrupt system down, we'll be able to heal the land and grow more nutritious vegetables and crops, and the water will be free of chemicals that we don't need in our drinking water. You've only got to get in the shower and you can smell the chlorine. It's vile. So yeah, we've just got to turn back to nature very much.
Yeah, I totally resonate with what you're telling me. So I'm in Madeira right now, living here on this beautiful island, and of course we have a lot of space where people grow bananas and oranges, and also sugarcane for rum and the poncha. But yeah, so we have a very abundant version of plants here, and also spring water that comes from the mountains. And so this is already a place where I can see this is close to an environment I would call my own paradise. And of course, we have still the situation that we need to come into a more peaceful and more freedom version of our life. But like the environment is going into the direction I would see that. And with that, what you're telling people, yeah, find your interest, whatever it is, that can be supportive for creating the new future. And learning about permaculture or medical herbs, or how to make your own soap or cream is one thing. It is easy to learn. Everybody can do that. Yeah,
very much. Yeah, I mean, I picked a book, and it's by Julie Broughton Steele and Matthew Steele, and that's hedgerow medicine. It tells you where to go looking for the plants, different ways to use them, it's got your methods of making tea or tincture, syrups, and everything's in there, and it's seasonal. So I can highly recommend people go and have a look at that. If it's something that resonates with you and you want to look at a more natural medicine, I would just look for a book that teaches you along those lines, and to get in touch with nature, most definitely. Coming back to the environment, you know, it will, even though, I mean, I personally do not believe in climate change. The climate changes naturally anyway itself, and those causing pollutants are the corrupt ones that will be removed, and we will be the ones that, although we don't believe in the climate change in the situation they're dictating it in, it will become a more natural environment, and because the way we want the world to become. Do you see what I mean? So like planting better crops and without the pesticides, we aren't going to create that better climate. It is going to change, but not along the idea that they want it to change. It will change naturally with our help. We will heal the environment together. So I mean, the things that they are polluting the world with, such as, I mean, all the PPE is non-recyclable for a start. So if they were thinking of, you know, climate change being an issue, why have they not made PPE recyclable? We take so much of our recycling abroad to China and dump it in the ocean. What good is that? And ripping up rainforests, deforestation, and there's so much, and the pollution in the sky they keep pumping over us. It's endless, but people don't realize until you point it out, or you see these lines in the sky, they're not actually plane trails, they're chemical trails. And they're dropping on us and on the land and on the crops and on the animals. But hopefully all of that will change next year. And we can move forward in healing the Mother Earth, Mother Gaia.
Yeah, one thing is definitely still bringing people into this awakening process. I think, yeah, even though we are already being a lot, I think that we need more and more people understanding what is really going on behind the scenes. And of course, seeing the chemtrails and all the chemicals that will come down with that is one thing. And understanding about if it would be really, if the system would really care about your health, how would they react? There would be no junk food. There would be no allowance of cigarettes. There would be treatments that really make people healthy and not just give them a little bit of treatment so that they stay in a kind of being sick but okay version. Yeah.
They want you sick. And I've said this to many people, you know, everything they're telling you to do is harmful to your health. Instead, if they wanted you to look after your immune system, they would be giving everyone an abundance of free vitamin C and vitamin D tablets and zinc, and saying everyone in your house gets a free allocation weekly or monthly of these vitamins. Go and get your fruit and vegetables. Make sure you're having a healthy diet. Eat organic where you can. Put the growing your own vegetables, how to live more sustainably on television instead of the junk that they do. It's all programmed the wrong way, isn't it? They're not, instead they're telling you to wear one of these across your face and decrease your oxygen levels by 30%, which gives you respiratory infections. And, you know, I could go more into depth on that, but it just basically, they're just telling you, even at one time they were saying have a dairy diet. That's the worst thing you can have for a respiratory infection. You need clean food. You need clean water to be able to be healthy. You are what you put in your body. And if you're going to rely on medicines and injections that you don't know what's in there, you get what you ask for at the end of the day. You look after yourself. You've got no fear at all. And you've got to have confidence and faith in just looking after yourself. We'll protect you. That's all I can say really on that. It's just, it's bizarre that they are conditioning and programming people to not trust their immune systems that we were born with, and it's the best one we've got. Nothing will better this.
Definitely not. And understanding what can you do to help your immune system to be healthy. It's also like what you said, go out into nature, yeah, connect with all the elements,
Yeah,
yeah, and also eat healthy, drink clean water, take some vitamins if you are not in the sunlight as I am, like vitamin D and of course zinc. So it is not a secret, not at all.
they're such simple things, aren't they? And I mean, I always used to wake up in the morning and think, oh, I need a cup of tea. I haven't had a cup of tea for over a year. In the morning, it's a simple detox, and I have bottled mineral water, boiled, and I put either a quarter of a lemon, unwaxed organic lemon or lime into my hot water, a spoonful of organic honey if I want, and I grate some root ginger in there. And also, what else do I sometimes put in? Yeah, I think sometimes I'll put my raspberry leaf tea in, which is quite nice. It adds a fruity flavour. Basically, just the hot water, lemon and lime with grated ginger is a perfect detox. Cleans all your organs right through in the morning, and it makes you feel clean. You literally do begin to feel cleaner and better. And suddenly I don't want tea anymore because it makes me feel unclean and cloggy. You just get, it's like when you stop eating junk food, you don't want it because you've detoxed from it. You don't want it anymore. And you just get used to eating healthier food, and that's all you want.
Yeah.
So
what I see is, of course, it is also cleaning the soul. Like, what is a routine you can have for getting out of this fear and connecting to your intuition? For me, for example, I do meditations for that. And I go into the ocean, and for me it is water and sunlight that empowers me. So this is different for everybody, but for me it is like this combination as well. So this
yeah,
is
that's
kind of
lovely.
a routine I do have, like morning meditation, and then finding some days where I go into nature and go swimming, even though now it's also here winter time, the ocean is getting cold. Anyhow, I will go in.
Keep going as long as you can.
Yeah, it's possible all the year here. So it will only be like in January, like some weeks where we really have bad weather. Otherwise, it's always sunny. So I can go into the ocean, I think, all the year.
That's very fortunate. I mean, I have to admit I've turned into a bit of a tree hugger. And there's one particular tree in this wood near me, and I just, it's got a massive branch that's just snapped off it over the years, and I lie on it and I just close my eyes and I just connect with nature, and it's lovely to switch off. And you do become a little bit I'm trying to ignore if anyone walks past me and might be thinking, what the heck's she doing, you know, lying on a tree branch. But that's how I connect with nature, and I love that feeling of just getting up there every day if I can, on an hour's walk. And I sometimes pack my breakfast and a flask of hot water and lemon, and I just go and sit by the reservoir and just take in what's around me. And it's the best remedy. It's so therapeutic to do that. And once you do it, you think, actually, it's beautiful. I'm away from everything, all of the toxic environment that we're being bombarded with daily. Just take yourself away from that. And that in itself is an antidepressant. It's lovely to do that.
Yeah. So also it is like understanding what you bring into your body, have a healthy body, but also have a healthy mind, and connect with the nature, do meditations, do some exercises that will also help body.
Yeah.
And if you do, for example, yoga or whatever, this also helps your mind. So
yeah,
it is all possible, even if you are kind of trapped at home, to understand what are the little steps everybody can make to stay healthy and to create already the new version of Earth that we want to have. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, even if I feel for people, particularly with children that live in high-rise apartment blocks and they have no garden, or, during lockdown, it was the hardest part for them. It's particularly the children, and being confined where they can't get in touch with nature. And bring some plants, grow some seeds with your children. And there's always something that you can do to watch nature grow. Just buy some books that teach you how to grow seeds on simple things, even cress. Children can grow herbs and lettuce indoors, anything, just to give them that little bit of connection with nature.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think we covered a lot of things already. Is there
we have, yeah. I just mentioned another book that I can highly recommend, and I have read this one. It's by Kimberly Palm, and it's Ascension 101, and it talks about the Great Awakening, the solar flash, angel numbers. It's quite funny, actually. I'll just mention one thing. I've been looking for a private number plate for some years to treat myself on my birthday to. And last year, I just went on, I thought, I'm going to treat myself, definitely going to get a number plate. And within a matter of minutes, I found a number plate with my initials and 444 on it. And I thought, oh, well, it's my initials, 444. That's easy enough to remember. When you're at the car parking ticket machine, you want something that you can remember. And then my friend sent me this little article on 444, meaning that I'm surrounded by angels, and I do feel totally protected. I really do. And it's a wonderful feeling to have that, I feel like I'm in this little bubble of light of protection all the time. I don't have any fear. And that's a beautiful place to be. And I just wish everyone could move into that same bubble of light. That's what we need, everyone to just move into, this light awakening.
Yeah. Absolutely. So if people now are curious, because you shared so many interesting things and you are the light here in my podcast.
I thought I'd struggle, but I didn't think I was a very interesting person.
So if people would like to talk to you or reach out to you, how can they connect?
Well, I can certainly, I can give out my email address, like a private email address. I can send that to you, pop on the link. Unfortunately, I'm banned on Facebook at the moment, but I am on there, Louise LH, and I'm on Telegram as well under that. So, people can come and find me there. So yeah, I mean, I'm open to supporting whenever I've seen people struggling on Facebook, and I've sent them a private message. Call me anytime. I'm here to talk to anyone, even those that are blind to what's going on. When they do eventually wake up, I'm still here for them. That's in our nature. That's who we are. Even though they dissed us, I'm still here. I'll welcome anyone back. That's who we are at the end of the day. But yeah, just going forward, all I can recommend people is feed your mind, body and soul the best you can. Inform yourself and turn the TV off and turn your intuition on. That's all you have to do.
Wonderful. So I would put the links in the description so that people can reach out to you on email, Facebook, or Telegram. And thank you so much for sharing all your insights, your story. It was really a pleasure for me speaking with you today.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's lovely to be with you.
Yeah, see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening or watching my podcast, Holistic Creators. If you want to know more about how I can help and support you, have a look at my website, spiritualchangemaker.com. You
can also join my Facebook group, Spiritual Changemakers Community. Stay tuned for the next episode by subscribing to this channel. And you also can check the previous episodes.